Hello, London. Hello, England. Hello, world. I thought I'd do today's video about the presentation of self. As you see, I do my videos in a cap because my hair's a mess. I wear my spectacles. I'm unshaven. No watch on today. This t-shirt. And sweatpants, as the Americans call it. As I move to this online platform, I'm wondering in the upcoming weeks and months ahead how many more views I would get when I'm in my lawyerly attire of a suit, clean shaven, all done up. You see, when I started off lawyering, I was the one who was receiving the advice. And then when I went on to training lawyers, I was the one giving the advice. And one of the pieces of information I'd often deliver is that my late grandmother would say that shoes show your position. As soon as you start work as a lawyer, make sure you buy that expensive suit, even if it's on a credit card, and those expensive shoes. I'd be interested in seeing the engagement of this channel once I get a proper camera, once I get proper studio facilities and the presentation of self that's required in a YouTube channel. I also do all of these videos at the moment completely off the top of my head with no notes at all. That will change too. Presentation of Self was a book written by the eminent sociologist Irving Goffman, and I reference him in my first book. You don't see many YouTubers doing that, putting your hand in shot. And when I recently restarted some stand-up comedy, I saw, interestingly, that in this age of reels and scripts and cancel culture, almost every stand-up had assiduous notes, even the ones who are more experienced than me, even the ones who are less experienced than me. You see, I touched my face there. We don't normally do that on YouTube videos. And I thought it's interesting, isn't it, that now we're not freestyling, whether it's on the microphone or whether it's on our YouTube channels. This is, I think, my fourth video or my fifth video. Do leave comments as to what sort of content you would like to see below. I hope within the next few weeks or few months that there's an expansion whereby I start interviewing some guests and maybe doing some online content. I also acknowledge the fact, and this is as a prelude to my next video, which is going to be on AI, that in this completely oversaturated media world, what sells is conflict. A lot of the big money YouTubers today film conflict outside the asylum hotel. You can hear some conflict going on outside. They film conflict outside the asylum hotels. They film conflict between marchers of far left and far right. If you go back to the Greek tragedies, if you go back to Greek mythology, if you go back to the Hindu mythologies, in all of the above, conflict and resolution of conflict is something that human beings have been attracted to for generations. The etiology of the word tragedy, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't done any research for this video because let's just give some unfiltered content, is Tragos Odi, goat competition or goat story. Comment below if I've got that wrong. I recall being taught that in sixth form in the early 2000s. And if you recall, the catharsis in a tragedy, whether it's a Shakespearean tragedy, whether it's Macbeth or King Lear or Othello, or whether it's Greek tragedies of Euripides or Sophocles or Aeschylus, there has to be a catharsis from the downfall of the hero and hubris leading to that downfall and finally a conclusion. But all of that is driven by conflict, by bloodshed, by tragedy, something I've seen a lot of in the criminal world as a lawyer. So really this video today is more about framing how we are using media and also again, linking into my upcoming video to do with AI, how this constant focus on shouting, we're all shouting at each other now. I was on a train not too long ago, and a boy, I say a boy, a 17, 18-year-old, had literal speakers, boomboxes you might call them in old money, and he was pumping music throughout the train carriage, and no one said anything. And then as I was going to the toilet, a young woman, must have been early 20s, she said to me, "Was that your music?" And I said, "No, it was his. Are you going to tell him to turn the volume down?" And she did not. So you're probably seeing your algorithm saturated by content of the far left shouting at the far right, whereas in reality we should all be shouting at the 5% or 1% at the top who are bleeding us all dry. So we get the society we choose, and we have the power to choose which direction we go in, but do we now? That's another thing I'll be touching on in my new AI video, which I am quite tempted to go into at this point, but I think a 7.5 minute video is just about enough for an introduction. Like, comment, and subscribe. Critical Criminologist below. Over and out.